Ammo is crazy expensive and hard to find, and dry fire is life. I use the Mantis X10 to keep my handgun skills strong, and it makes dry practice fun and challenging. Check it out at the link below.
Good morning, everyone. This is Active Self-Protection Extra and brought to you by Mantis X. I'm Brian Hill with the Complete Combatant. It's very early on the range here. I've been up for a while practicing, doing my dry practice and kettlebell workout. And I had a great question from a viewer that came in while I was at the HK VIP event teaching this weekend, which was a tremendous honor to present. As you can see, HK dressed me today. They gave us some good swag, so a word for the video. Very nice. We were well taken care of, and we're incredibly grateful to them for allowing that opportunity for me to teach. So the question was, I mentioned a term that I like to use, which is the bounce out of the holster. This works whether it's strong side or appendix. I'll be doing it from appendix so you can see, but you can apply the same principles to the strong side. So don't think any different about that. It's how do I get good connection in the gripping process, and how long should that take? It's not if, it's what's the duration and the amount of tension that we're going to put into gripping the gun to get it out of the holster. So a lot of us like to drive down and get a really tight master grip, get our thumb folded over, grip the gun as tightly as we can, push down, pull up, drive the other hand in, and all of that is exactly right, except it all costs time. So what we have to do is find out how much of that do I need. Let's check this gun out, make sure we're safe today. Okay. Chamber's clear, physically and visually verified. Magazine is clear. I'm going to have to face you on the camera today because that's the only way you can see this particular motion. So what I'm going to do is find a good anchor point for my hand. That's my starting position. How do I actually grip the gun? I used to always put my thumb behind the gun and drive it out, which causes a lot of friction on my stomach, and friction slows us down. You know, things in motion tend to stay in motion. Things at rest tend to stay at rest unless they're acted upon by another force. So if I put my thumb here, this creates friction and really slows me down. So what I want to do is put my grip in a good place. Scott Jelinski calls this the claw grip. And what happens is my thumb has found a really good anchor point on the back of the VP9 like this, and my thumb is up. I'm doing the majority of gripping with these three fingers, so they're really important. You know, the worry of getting a good grip causes tension in the hand, which keeps the hand from compressing around the grip of the gun. So if you make your hand rigid and you go to grip, all those muscles create space in there, and then when you go to pull the gun out, you don't have a good grip. So we've got to stay away from over tensing the hand. You know, there's three states for us: tension, relaxation, and tone. And tone simply means that you are coordinated enough to use exactly the right amount of strength during the execution of the activity. This is kind of the shooting equivalent of the 1-inch punch that Bruce Lee always did, where you go from complete relaxation to driving the punch through. It's kind of the same activity. Whether my hand starts here or whether my hand starts here, it's a very quick motion, and it's a similar motion. We would just call this a low guard, and we call this a middle guard. No big deal. We really shouldn't have a high guard unless you're in USPSA and you're starting from a surrender position. So whether I'm here or here, what I want to do is find that anchor point with a relaxed hand. And then the hand is simply going to compress around the gun and fold it and grip it in a relaxed manner, okay? And this is a quicker cycle between tension and relaxation. Put yourself on the timer, try to push down really hard, get a master grip, and then just time yourself coming out to a full draw. So I push down real hard, and then I drive out and move. Two things that will happen, and you saw it in the camera, my body sways a lot more, because there's a lot of excess energy being put into the holster that's not necessary, so it's got to go somewhere. And then I'm keeping tension in the tricep by pushing down, and when I go to bend the bicep and pull the gun out, it slows me down like a braking process, and therefore it costs me speed. So you have to find the perfect balance. I want to fire the tricep on the way down, I want to fire the bicep on the way up, and that'll allow me to bounce between two opposing tensions in my arm, allowing me to go faster. You've got to release when you push down. So all I'm talking about is I push down probably as hard as you do. I just don't hold for a long time and then pull. What I simply do is as soon as my hand comes in contact and it's relaxed and it gets to the end, I use the natural motion of my holster and my belt to help accelerate the gun out of it. Now some people scoop. That means they come in and they scoop on the way up. Same thing on a strong side holster, they're scooping it out. It can be very quick. I just don't find a very good connection for me because I'd have to go past it and come back up on the downward stroke to scoop it out, where I just come here or I come here. You know, hands down, I have to come up over it no matter what. Continuous motion versus stop and start. All right, we want one continuous motion. You know, learners like to either say it stops here or it starts here, and they try to fix all the points in between. But what that does is make a herky-jerky movement for people trying to improve it. We want to manage the flowing action of the draw. So that bounce is really important. Remember, the elbow is the anchor point, so it should move as little as possible. If you watch my elbow, there's very little motion. The further it gets away from me or the further the hand moves, the slower it's going to be, okay? And it should be the same no matter what. So if I start from the low, bounce. If I start from the high, bounce, and I'm going to end up in the same point. So let's kind of look at what this looks like. I'm going to move the cover garment out of the way so you can see better. But if my hand is here, it's going to bounce and the gun's going to come right out here. And that's just an action of stabbing. That's what Scott Jelinski calls it, kind of a stab on the gun, stab down and come out. Get a good grip. Now, sometimes you're not going to get the grip you want, and that's good because it's going to teach you, all right, I didn't get a good connection. You want to make sure that the palm gets in there and that you get a good connector with it, especially if you're running a 1911, 2011, you got a grip safety on there. It's very important to make sure that the palm comes in, not so much the thumb, but the palm needs to fill in that swell right there of how we do it. Okay, and the bounce is simply this, boom, and let it move. Now the other hand is simply waiting, and as soon as I finish the bounce, they're going to come together and get control of the gun. All right, if it's up, goes down, bounces, and gets it together. You're going to find a lot of speed in this, and the holster draw analysis will help you see that. Don't push down so hard, creating friction. Just let your hand make contact. When it makes good contact, use the elasticity of your muscle structure, the belt, the holster, to get the gun to come out just a little quicker. Now, I don't want you to flex up and down. I just want you to feel that little bit of give and allow it to manage it. Think about bouncing a basketball. It just comes up naturally, and then your hand pushes it back down. Same sort of feeling. I'm bouncing the basketball. That allows me to get the gun out much quicker in this administrative task. So the idea is stab, bounce. All right? Practice it. See what you get. I hope that helps you out, guys. It's a simple trick. And it's very difficult for a lot of people to let go enough to actually feel the difference, because we're really only talking about, this is a tension cycle of push down, pull up, and it happens to be very tense, so there's too much energy. And then if I didn't have that and I just went and got the gun and kind of flipped it out of the holster, it's too relaxed. So I've got to balance the paired extremes of muscles in order to get that speed going. All right, I'm Brian Hill with the Complete Combatant. This is Active Self-Protection Extra. Thank you for tuning in. And as always, remember, measure, refine, and perform.